Have you ever thought about your future and asked yourself, who will take care of me when I get old? For many of us, the immediate answer is, my children. It's a natural response, right? You raised them, loved them, and dedicated years of your life to making sure they grow up safe and happy. So when you reach a point in life when you need help, it seems logical to expect them to return the favor. But what if I told you this belief, this expectation could be one of the biggest mistakes you ever make? Hold on, don't click away just yet. This video could change the way you think about old age forever. Let's dive into why trusting your children to take care of you in your later years might not be the best plan. Picture this: you've worked hard your entire life, sacrificed for your children, and now as you're aging, you assume they'll care for you. It feels like a natural progression, doesn't it? But here's the hard truth. For many parents, this belief leads to unexpected challenges, strains on family relationships, emotional burdens, and even health problems. Many people imagine their children as a form of insurance for their old age, but depending on them fully can come with serious consequences for everyone involved. Today, we're going to explore the reasons why. Let's start with the first one: the invisible burden. Did you know that elderly parents who rely on their children for daily care often experience higher rates of depression? This depression is just the tip of the iceberg in what we call the invisible burden. Let's break it down. Imagine you're now in your 70s or 80s, and one of your children becomes your main caregiver. At first, it might seem ideal. They love you, they want to help. But as time goes on, cracks begin to show. They have their own lives, their own responsibilities. Slowly, taking care of you becomes a source of stress for them, and that stress, in turn, starts to weigh on you too. Think it's just hypothetical. Here's a real example. Meet Amber. After her husband passed away, she moved in with her daughter. At first, it felt like a perfect solution for everyone. But as the years went by, Amber noticed a shift in the way her daughter treated her. Amber felt like a burden in her own home, and this started affecting her mental and emotional well-being. In an interview, Amber admitted, "I felt like an intruder in my daughter's life." And Amber isn't alone. Let's take a look at another example. Meet Manuel, a 75-year-old father of 3. When Manuel lost his independence after a health setback, his children took over nearly every decision in his life, from what he ate to what he wore. At first, he was grateful, but over time, he felt like he was losing control of his life, like he was being treated as a child again, but without the joy that comes with childhood. Manuel confessed, "It's like I became a child again, but this time it wasn't fun." Both Amber and Manuel are examples of how the invisible burden of old age dependency can damage family dynamics. The emotional weight of dependency. Psychologist Carl Jung once said, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." This applies deeply to the relationship between aging parents and their adult children. Dependency in old age changes that relationship, but often not for the better. Even if the emotional transformation starts off positively, it can turn into a toxic mix of resentment and frustration. This is because dependency disrupts the natural balance in relationships. When elderly parents become reliant on their children for basic needs, it often leads to a shift in family dynamics, and not always for the better. Losing control over your life. Another key issue is the loss of autonomy. When you depend on your children in old age, you can lose that sense of purpose, of control over your own life, things that are crucial for mental well-being. This is where the Roman philosopher Seneca's wisdom comes into play. Seneca once said, "The desire to be healed is part of healing." In the context of old age, we can adapt this to say that the desire to maintain autonomy is part of dignified aging. When parents completely rely on their children, they often lose the sense of self-determination and independence that is vital for emotional and psychological health. So how can we prevent this from happening? It's not all doom and gloom. There are ways to sail through these rough waters without sinking the ship. The importance of planning ahead. Aging isn't something we can avoid, but we can prepare for it. Just like a road trip requires fuel and a map, getting older means planning your finances and healthcare in advance. With the right preparation, you can maintain control of your journey and ensure that you don't get stuck along the way. It's not just about saving money, it's about saving your peace of mind, your relationships, and your sense of self. Setting boundaries and open communication. The final piece of this puzzle is communication. Having honest, open discussions with your children about expectations and boundaries is one of the most powerful tools you have to reduce stress in the future. Setting healthy boundaries before dependency becomes an issue will ensure that both you and your children know where the line is. This way, you can avoid unnecessary emotional baggage. Remember, the goal isn't to create a burden for your children, but to allow them to support you without losing themselves in the process. So while it might feel natural to assume your children will be there for you in old age, be careful not to rely on them too much. Instead, prepare for your future with thoughtful planning, open communication, and a focus on maintaining your independence. This approach will help preserve both your dignity and your relationships in your later years. Thank you for watching the video to the end. If you liked the video, put a like, subscribe to our channel, share this video on social networks, and write your opinion in the comments. It will help to promote this video in YouTube so that as many people who need it heard this information.